Hello BookTube, it's Joshua here, and I'm going to be doing the chess book tag. I was tagged by Book Chat with Pat, and this tag was created by Aaron Read a Book. So the first question is Pawn, a book about a lowly character that rises through the ranks. And for that one, I chose A Wizard of Earthsea, and the character in this novel is Ged. He's essentially this world is full of wizards, and Ged starts off as a lowly shepherd, I think, or something like that, in some small village. But throughout the novel, he turns out to be a prodigy at magic, and rises through the ranks at a wizarding school called Roki. But he is also a very haughty character and prideful and too competitive, and that turns out to be a fault of his. And I suppose the point of the novel is that he grows up from that fault and learns a lesson. But that's A Wizard of Earthsea. The next question, Rook, a book that features a castle, a tower, or a chariot. And for that one, I chose the Iliad. This is the Robert Fagel's translation. It's the only one that I've read, but I mainly chose the Iliad for the chariots that were in it, because there are a lot of really interesting and thrilling battle scenes where the characters are on chariots, and I just, when I was reading them, I thought it was really interesting, and it felt very realistically depicted, even though I wouldn't know what it's like to ride on a chariot, but it felt very real, which I liked a lot. The next question is Knight, a book about an animal or animals, bonus points if it's a horse. And for this one, I may be stretching the rules a little bit, but I want to read you just a couple stanzas from a poem, actually. And those stanzas are about a dog. The poem's titled February by John Clare. No more behind his master's heels the dog creeps on his winter pace, but cocks his tail, and o'er the fields runs many a wild and random chase, following, in spite of chiding calls, the startled cat with harmless glee, scaring her up the weed green walls or mossy mottled apple tree. As crows from morning perches fly, he barks and follows them in vain. E'en larks will catch his nimble eye, and off he starts and barks again, with breathless haste and blinded guess, oft following where the hare hath gone, forgetting, in his joy's excess, his frolic puppy days are done. Yeah, so I hope it's okay that I stretch the rules a bit, but I love that moment in that poem. Bishop, a book that features religious characters or members of a church, bonus points for Bishop. I chose the book Jane Eyre, and the character in this novel is called St. John Rivers. St. John, he's a clergyman or something like that in a small town, but he's not, I don't find him to be a very likable character, at least. He's very cold, and I think he's interesting really only insofar as he influences Jane. He represents a more cold and calculated way of life for Jane, and he tries to persuade Jane to follow him in that kind of maybe emotionless or colder lifestyle. But Book Chat with Pat, she chose for the next prompt, which is Queen, a book with a strong female character. Well, she chose Jane Eyre for that one. I agree with her. I agree with her that Jane Eyre is a very strong character, and I believe that a lot of the strength that she displays is in the decision to resist the entreaties of St. John Rivers and to, well, follow her heart or go to the person that she loves. So yeah, St. John Rivers is the choice for bishop. The next prompt, Queen, a book with a strong female character. For that one, I chose Little Woman, and specifically the character Jo. From what I remember, Jo's a very vivacious character, and well, she doesn't like to listen to other people, and I suppose that could definitely be perceived as being a strong character, but even more so, I found that, well, I don't want to spoil anything in the novel, but I will say that Jo experiences loss, and the way that she perseveres through that loss, is very strong. It makes her a very strong character, I think. And the last question, King, a book about a monarch or a ruler. And again, I will be stretching the rules here because I want to read you another poem. This is called Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." So that's the poem about a king, and perhaps it takes a rather negative attitude towards kings. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you, Aaron, for creating this tag, and thank you, Book Chat with Pat, for tagging me. I will leave links to both of their channels in the description. Goodbye, BookTube.